This is a narration of S-64 Echo Training Manual. General description. The S-64 Echo is a twin-turbine, single-main rotor, single anti-torque tail rotor helicopter. Gross weight 42,000. Maximum gross weight. Maximum hook weight 20,000. Speed 115 kis. Maximum. Length 88 feet 6 inches. Height 25 feet 4 inches. Width 21 feet 9.7 inches. Rotor disc diameter 72 feet. Tail rotor diameter 16 feet. Planes of reference. There are three reference designations used to describe the various locations on the aircraft. They are called stations, waterlines, and butt lines. Stations. Measured along the longitudinal axis of the airframe. Measurements begin from the reference datum line, located at 34 inches forward of the nose. Waterlines, measured in inches along the vertical axis of the airframe. Waterline 0 is located 47 inches below ground level. Buttock lines measured in inches left and right of the aircraft centerline. Aircraft systems, engines, 2 axial flow Pratt & Whitney JFTD 12 Alpha 4 Alpha gas turbine engines. Each engine is rated at 4,500 shaft horsepower at sea level standard day conditions. Auxiliary power plant, APP. The APP is located aft of the main transmission. It provides ground power for aircraft electrical and hydraulic systems when the main rotors are not churning. The APP is a small turbine engine made by Solar. It operates at 56,700 RPM. The APP produces approximately 72 shaft horsepower. Maximum fuel consumption is 73 pounds per hour. Fuel is supplied from the forward cell of the aft main tank. Transmissions. There are three transmissions: the main gearbox, the intermediate gearbox, and the tail rotor gearbox. Rotors. The main rotor system is a six-bladed, fully articulated system. The tail rotor is a four-bladed, semi-rigid system. Fuel system. There are 5 fuel cells, 2 cells in each of the 2 main tanks and 1 in the aux tank. Main tanks, approximately 454 US gallons, equals 291 pounds. Auxiliary tank, approximately 458.5 US gallons, 2,980 pounds. So there's 2 forward tanks and 2 aft tanks, each approximately 3,000 pounds, plus a slightly bigger auxiliary tank. There are 7 hydraulic systems on the aircraft: first stage flight control, second flight control, makeup, utility, hoist, rotor brake, and auxiliary hydraulic systems. First stage, 3,000 psi, supplies the first stage of the main rotor tandem servo. Second stage, 2,000 psi, supplies the second stage of the main rotor tandem servo and the second stage of the tail rotor servo at 1,500 psi. Utility is at 1,500 psi, supplies APHIS servo, first stage tail rotor servo, wheel brakes boost. The hoist hydraulic system, 3,500 psi, supplies the engine starter motors, the hoist cable drum when installed, the hydraulic logging grapple, or the fire tank snorkel when each item is installed. Makeup, 1,500 psi, supplies on-demand increased hydraulic flow to the hoist pump, powers the landing gear jack and kneel system, and the hoist brake release at 400 psi. Rotor brake, 0 to 1,000 psi, hand-operated, with low pressure caution light at 10 psi and high pressure advisory light at 835 psi. The auxiliary aux pack, the auxiliary hydraulic system provides 3,000 psi at 30 gallons per minute to operate fire tank pond snorkel, water cannon, and logging grapples. Electrical system. There are 2 AC 115 over 200 volt 3-phase 400 CPS generators rated at 20 kVA. There is one inverter to provide 115-volt AC from the battery and 26-volt AC through the auto transformers. There are two transformer rectifiers to convert 115-volt AC to 28-volt DC. A 24-volt DC battery power provides system startup voltage and serves as the emergency source of DC power. There are also receptacles for both AC and DC external power on the right front corner of the aircraft nose. All these components are considered sources of power. Automatic Flight Control System, the AFIS. The AFIS improves the handling characteristics of the helicopter in limited ranges of flight. Attitude stabilization and directional retention through pitch, roll, yaw channels are sensed through the AC-powered control gyros with control outputs to the main rotor system through the AFIS servo hydraulic system. Flight controls. The flight controls are a combination of bell crank, linkage, cable, and hydraulics. This will be covered in detail in the flight control section. It is significant to note here that there is no direct flyable manual control linkage to the rotor systems. All control inputs are at the swash plate to the main rotor system, and at the tail rotor are done by hydraulic servos. Single point hoist. When installed, the hoist has up to 100 feet of usable cable with 20,000 pounds of load capacity and a cable shear capabilities. Landing gear. The S-64 Echo uses a tricycle type landing gear with two fixed main gear and a full swiveling nose gear. The main gear have disc brakes. Some aircraft have a jack and kneel system which allows the aircraft to be raised or lowered 8 inches to aid in cargo handling. The main gear are also protected from hard impact landings by energy absorption fuses. The fuses will blow at a force of 3.5 Gs, 11 feet per second, or greater, and allow the fluid in the jacking chamber to go to the landing gear support, and the gear will go to the kneel position. The nose wheel is a full swiveling and self-centering wheel. A nose wheel lock, activated by the handle in the cockpit, is incorporated to lock the nose wheel in straight forward position.